online home invasions trying to happen every single day.
Yeah.
I just heard a little bit earlier today that one minister I totally respect actually doesn't even have internet on his phone.
Wow.
He's just said, I'm going to even be very intentional on that, where it just doesn't even have access. And, I think everybody needs to know where their threshold is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you're talking about consecrate. Well, consecrate also has this thing where you have a decision that your house is going to serve God.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make that decision, then you have a conversation of the outworking.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
And I know that I feel like we're picking on John. I know John was like, no secular music. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you understand how hard this is going to be to navigate? And I kept trying to talk to him about there's worship music, but then there's music that celebrates the love between a man and a woman. And that's godly, and that's beautiful, and that's God-given. And then there's music that dishonors that. So can we only have the music that honors it and not the music that dishonors it?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people feel like once they open the door, the floodgate just comes in. But I think parents can have that conversation with their kids and decide. Like,
And
how
I
does
was
that
super
make you feel?
rebellious in that area. Like that incited major rebellion in me.
Yeah.
It did.
And inside a rebellion in me. I understand. I got in trouble for the Beach Boys. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. And looking at that now, I'm kind of like, yeah, huh.
Well, I want to ask
why
you.
was I so fascinated with stealing away? I mean, that was back when you'd have to have a cassette tape or like radio
Or
stuff.
CD.
It was pretty difficult to listen to music
You were
that your
committed.
parents didn't want you to listen to. Like I put a lot of work into listening to that music.
And I want to ask you though, because it was different with the younger two boys. I mean,
Yeah,
I
y'all were a
remember like
Yeah.
when they were teens.
When
what
they
we
were
would
teens,
listen to
yes.
when we were cleaning the kitchen.
Yes.
Yes.
They're
Addison
teenagers.
constantly would be like, never when I was a
never.
teenager.
I would have been grounded for a month for listening to the song that is blaring through our speakers
I don't feel
right
like John
now.
was present during
No,
that.
he totally
No,
was.
no, he
Well, he
was.
didn't hear the words.
So I am curious though, what the, because I think this could be encouraging for parents who feel like,
Well, you guys danced to a secular song at your wedding. Do you
We
remember
did.
that? And I do feel
We should
that
give some language to this. I feel like this
it
is
was
helpful.
but it was a beautiful love song. And I remember afterwards having parents come up to me and say, that really challenged my legalistic views. I realize I've allowed legalism to spread into some areas that it didn't need to be. And they actually really enjoyed that you did a bridal dance, and it was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't perverse or sexual or
Yeah.
inappropriate. It was just the celebration of a moment
Yeah.
that you guys were
and
getting
it was
married.
Justin Timberlake, and Addison
It
is
was.
still low key a big Timber fan. Is there a name for
don't think
Timberlake
that's a
fan
thing.
people? Still, our kids are like,
I'm not.
our dad loves Justin Timberlake.
I flew with him to Australia, and I told my boys, I said, he just looks like one of your friends. He had like khaki pants on and something. I'm sure he
Let's actually,
different.
let's use this as an
Springs.
example though, because I think this is
Use
a great
it.
example. So I hated the Christian secular music distinction.
Yes.
I hated it.
That
I'm
was
like-
just,
I'm like,
your
this
dad is very black and white.
It doesn't, well, it
Yes.
didn't make sense to me because you can listen to like quote unquote Christian music. That's garbage music and it's garbage theology. But because it's Christian music,
Sorry, CC.
you can, no, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not saying it's all garbage, but there's garbage music out there. But because it has a Christian label or published by a Christian publishing house, then it's like, oh yeah, we can play that in our home. And here's my thing. And I please challenge me on this if you disagree, because we're talking about consecrating. And
Yeah.
I want to back it up because you're tying choose and consecrate together, and you should.
Sorry.
No. I said you should because
These are getting confusing.
because the act of consecrating
Is it
is an extension of the choice, but ultimately the choice is to make God Lord, right? So He's Lord of our lives. His word is Lord over our lives, right? Not whatever is the popular opinion about whatever from whatever camp. It's like, no, he's Lord. And we got to work that out in our lives. We do.
Yeah.
And then we figure out what it looks like to consecrate our homes accordingly. And so for me, when it comes to music, I enjoy music that honors the human experience and honors God in a way that doesn't dishonor humans, doesn't dishonor God's design for our flourishing, doesn't dishonor sexuality, those types of things.
Yeah.
And so I think there's beautiful
Honors life struggles.
honors life struggle,
Yes.
the pain.
Yes.
I mean, so much of what is
Yes.
meaningful in music is giving words, articulating pain.
Yeah.
And so I think that's
Well, do you remember that was the parameters I always tried to put into place?
I know. And I know I'm probably challenging people. They're hearing
That's
me
all
say
right.
this. And they're like, well, how do I regulate this with my kids? Well, this is what I would tell y'all. If you don't teach your kids the why especially as they're getting older, when
Yeah.
it comes to music, music is so powerful.
Yeah.
It is.
They will sneak around you because music is an essential
Case in
part
point.
of, I'm serious, of the human experience.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just like, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so they're going to sneak around you
Yeah.
and they're going to, it's that whole idea of like a law inciting sin. You want to be careful where you put law where God hasn't put law.
Right.
Because then God's not actually Lord of the situation. You've allowed something else, some precedent that maybe doesn't align with God's heart revealed through his word to be the Lord of that situation.
So let's talk about that because I think as you were talking, I was thinking, I think for parents to pull up just lyrics on certain songs
Mhm.
and just sit down with your kids. Don't listen to the music. Read the lyrics. Maybe over the meal and say, what are your thoughts on these lyrics?
Yeah.
Because I've heard it said that music, words in music, it's the only thing that enters your mind without permission.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so it comes in,
Yeah.
it's attached to a tune. And so I would think that we could sit down with our kids and have a conversation over dinner and not make it judgment, like let them read it and ask them those questions. Does this honor male? Does this honor female? Does this honor God? Does
Yeah.
this honor marriage? Does this
Yeah.
honor authority? Does this honor struggle? The
Yeah.
whole human experience.
Yeah.
Is this dishonoring of all of those things?
Is this
And-
is this arrogant? That's a big one that
yes.
we talk about with our kids. Like,
Absolutely.
is this encouraging a spirit of arrogance?
Right.
Because there's a lot of music out there that's
you
very
listen
much
to it,
like,
and all of a sudden your whole body
and like,
postures
well,
change.
and also the lyrics are basically like everyone else is terrible and I'm the best.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't really know if we want to be singing that or encouraging that. And we've
because
had
it gets into your
moments-
spirit
It does.
or your soul, at
And
least.
we've had moments with our kids. Like I remember one particular song that seemed like a relatively innocuous, innocent song. And I remember we caught something, and it was a song that Sophia was really liking. And we talked through the song with Sophia. And,
Yeah.
and when she saw it, she was like, oh no, I don't want to listen to that song
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, Sophia, don't listen to that song anymore. Why, Mom? Oh, just don't listen to it. It was like,
Trust me.
trust me. And now don't get me wrong. As a parent, there are going to be times where you're going to say,
Yeah.
trust me, and they need to trust you.
Right.
But be careful that you're
Always
not
that.
using that
Yeah.
just to be lazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like as a parent, don't pull cards because you're being lazy because you don't want to take the time to explain it in that moment when you should. Like
Yeah.
there will be moments where we can't explain. And I get that. And our kids need to trust us. But I remember in that particular moment, it's led to more understanding. That song in particular, it's led to more understanding and unity when it comes to music. I know we're spending a lot of time on music.
But music is a portal.
It is a portal.
It's a portal.
I'm going
Portal
like,
of all portals.
You knew exactly where I was going.
Yeah,
And we can't cover every portal.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I felt drawn to that one.
Yeah.
Like,
That portal was sucking you in.
That was. I don't know if I heard a song earlier today or what it was, but
I do want to give a
Do
caveat
it.
because I have seen this with music that's popular right now. It is deeply emotional. And even if those emotions are real and not necessarily bad, we explained this to our kids recently. It's like candy or sugar. It can feel good to listen to it and enter into that moment, and they have great beats. But if you are only listening to that, like you said, there's something transferred through music where kids are then,
Yeah.
they're just heavier. You're like, I get that that's real. And his first love broke up with him, and that was painful.
you were not there.
Like, that
You're
is
not part
not
of the
you.
story.
Like,
You
Yeah.
have
this
a
is
beautiful
snapshot.
life.
Enter
This
the
is a
story.
snapshot.
Enter the
Yes.
story.
And
I
I
do.
mean, there's even a Christian rapper, and he talks a lot about like mental stuff people are going through, and he's an excellent rapper.
Very good.
And the first time I listened to a song with Asher, I thought, oh, like
KB?
no.
Okay, darn.
I thought, gosh, this is so great.
That's the only Christian rapper you know.
Lecrae.
You know, Lecrae. Okay. Very
It's so
good.
great someone is going there. But then y'all are not even listening. But then the more he listened to it, he started to carry himself like he had a parent who was abusive of him. And then he had to find his way through that. And he's doing it different with his own kids. I'm like, buddy, this is not your life. Like, it's not.
You are not beaten by your father.
No.
Yeah, no, I
this
know.
is not your life. And that transfer of emotion
And
have
offense.
to be
And offense.
sensitive
And
to.
wound.
Yes.
And because there's a lot of that happening just through social
Yeah,
media.
that's
So
an
another
important
portal, social media.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us again at Home with the Beveres, where we are so passionate about helping you create a legacy starting at home. If you haven't already, go right ahead and like and subscribe. And guys, as well, leave us a comment below, because whenever you leave a comment, it helps us curate content that can help so many other people. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time at Home with the Beveres.